Good afternoon, students. Today's lecture is about production technology of brinjal. In this lecture, we will study about the botanical classification of brinjal, the flowering behavior of brinjal, then the cultural practices or management practices that are followed in field to grow brinjal crop, and some of the problems that are associated with brinjal. So let us start with the botanical classification of brinjal. So scientific name of brinjal is Solanum melanchina and it belongs to family Solanaceae. The family is similar with the crop that we have discussed last lecture, that is tomato. So family of tomato and brinjal is same, that is Solanaceae. The chromosome number again same with as in tomato, it is 2n is equal to 24, and brinjal was originated from Indo-Burma region. Okay, so center of origin for botanical for brinjal is Indo-Burma region, and brinjal is also known by some other names like aubergine, guinea squash, and eggplant. So these names are related with the different regions. Okay, in different places the people call brinjal by different names like aubergine, guinea squash, or eggplant. So these are the other names of brinjal plant. Now, what is the importance and nutritive value of brinjal? So it is a very stable vegetable and it is high in nutritive value. Brinjal is rich in many minerals such as calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, and ferrous. It is also a good source of vitamin A and vitamin C. Sometimes we can found that there is some bitterness in brinjals. So this bitterness is due to the presence of glycoalkaloids, right? So that glycoalkaloid that is present in brinjal, that is known as salosodine. Solesodine is the glycoalkaloid present in the brinjal which causes the bitterness in the brinjal, right? So glycoalkaloids content may vary from 0.4 to 0.5 milligram per 100 gram of the fresh weight of the fruit, right? So these glycoalkaloids are present in brinjal. That glycoalkaloid is known as solesodine, due to which there is bitterness in brinjal, right? So there are a different type of varieties in brinjal, like some varieties are purple in color, some are green in color, and some are white in color. So they are having different nutritive value. So purple variety has higher copper content and polyphenol oxidase activity is highest in purple varieties, and amino acid content is higher in purple variety. And if we talk about the green cultivars, the green varieties, they are rich in iron and catalase activity, right? So green cultivars are rich in iron and catalase activity, right? So these are the some of the minerals and vitamins that are present in brinjal. Now, what are the uses of brinjal? Brinjal is used as for cooking purpose, right? So it is used as cooked vegetable. It can be used in pickle making and in dehydration industry, right? And fruit is employed as a cure for toothache, and it is also an excellent remedy for the people who are suffering from liver complaints. And the green leaves of brinjal are good appetizers, aphrodisiac and cardiotonic. So leaves of the brinjals are also very beneficial for different purposes, like they are good appetizers, they have effect as a cardiotonic and aphrodisiac. In Unani system, roots of brinjal are used to alleviate pain, right? So with the use of the roots of brinjal, the pain is alleviated, right? Now the flowering behavior in brinjal. So in brinjal there are different kind of styles in the flower. Okay, flower is purple in color, and the style length is different in the brinjal flowers. So this is of four types. One is long style, medium style, short style, and pseudo short style. And among all these four different kinds of styles, only long and medium styles possess fruit. Okay, and they will only those flowers will set fruits which are having long or medium style flowers. Okay, and other flowers which are having short style or pseudo short style, they will not set fruits. Okay, so only these long and medium style flowers will set fruit, and other like short styled or pseudo short styled flowers will not set fruit. Okay, and the brinjal is a self-pollinated crop, and there is a hairy growth on the entire plant. That growth is known as tomentum. Okay, so entire plant surface is covered with the hairy layer that is known as tomentum. Now these are the different four type of flowers which are having long style flowers. They have a big ovary, stigma is swollen, and there are long anthers. In the medium style flowers, there is a long style, anthers are of same length, and ovary is also medium sized. And in short style flowers, the ovary is rudimentary. Okay, and pseudo short style flowers, they are in these flowers, ovary is again rudimentary as in the case of short style flowers, and style will be shorter than the anther. Style is smaller in length than anther, and there is no swelling of anther is observed, right? So these are the different four types of flowers that are found in case of brinjal. Now climate and soil. So brinjal requires a long and warm growing season. Okay, it requires a warm growing season, and the plant of brinjal is very sensitive to frost injury, and chilling weather for a long time may also damage the crop. So it requires only warm season and long and warm season for its growth and for its development, right? And if we talk about the soils, well drained and fertile soils are desirable for the growth of brinjal. As this plant is hardy in nature, it can be grown on different kind of soils, but the best soils for its cultivation are silt loams and clay loam soils. Okay, so this can be grown on different kind of soils, but best growth can be observed only on the silt loam soils as well as on the clay loam soils. And if we want to raise an early crop, then we need sandy or sandy loam soils. Okay, so for early crop, sandy loam or sandy soils are preferred for brinjal cultivation, right? So this is the this is regarding the climate and soil of brinjal. Next, there are some varieties and hybrids of brinjal. So the shape of brinjal fruit is different. Some of the fruits are round in shape, oblong, long fruited, and some are small fruited uh, fruits are there. So in these all shapes, there are different varieties. So if we talk about the round fruited, the variety is Punjab Neelam. If we talk about the long fruit varieties, the variety is BH2, and this variety is suitable for cooking as bharta. And this variety is also tolerant to fruit borer. Then long fruited varieties are there like Punjab Barsati and Punjab Sadabahar. So if you talk about the Punjab Barsati, this is more tolerant to fruit borer and is most suitable for transplanting in rainy season. And Punjab Sadabahar can be grown in summer or in autumn, and it can also be grown as a rattan crop, and it is comparatively tolerant to fruit borer, right? And the next variety is next varieties are small fruited varieties. Small fruited varieties like PBH3 and Punjab Nagina. And PBH3 variety is comparatively tolerant to fruit borer, right? So these all are the some of the varieties of brinjal. Otherwise, there are number of varieties that are grown in different areas or in different states or in different countries. But we have talked about the very few varieties of brinjal that are grown in Punjab. Now, agronomic practices. So there are number of agronomic operations, cultivation operations that are followed in while the cultivation of brinjal. So first of all, the seed rate that is used to raise an acre. Okay, if we want to plant 1 acre of brinjal, we need 300 to 400 gram of seed that is grown in the nursery beds. And nursery bed for the if we want to grow an acre, then we need area for nursery that is only one marla, that is 25 by 1 meter area for nursery, and nursery is grown on the raised beds, right? So 300 to 400 gram of seed is used, and this is sown in the raised nursery beds. Then sowing time. There are 4 successive crops of brinjal that can be taken in 1 year. Okay, so there are 4 seasons, we can say 4 times we can say in a year that, at which the brinjal can be sown, right? So these 4 times are different. Like the crop can be sown in the month of October in nursery beds, and this crop will be transplanted in the main field during November, right? So the sowing time is October to November. October in the nursery and November in the main field, right? Transplanted when the seedlings are transplanted in the main field. Then the second time when these brinjals can be sown, second crop you can say, so it can be sown in the month of November in nursery beds, and it can be transplanted in first fortnight of February, right? So the seedlings of this nursery are required to be protected against frost, because after as this crop is sown in November, and December and January are the months when the frost occurs, right? So at that time we need to protect the seed, or protect the nursery beds, or protect the seedlings from the frost, right? So in this time, during this time, seedlings are needed to protected against frost. The third crop can be raised during February, March, right? So we can sow the crop in February or March, and seedlings can be transplanted before the end of April. And the fourth crop can be sown in nursery beds in July, and transplanting can be done during August. So these are the 4 different seasons, or 4 different times in a year in which the 4 successive crops of brinjal can be taken, right? Now, tunnel technology. As in growing season or sowing time, I have discussed that the crop that is sown in month of November, it it is required to be protected against frost, because in December and January frost occurs. So to protect the seedlings against frost, this low tunnel technology is to be followed. So what is low tunnel technology? Low tunnel technology means we have to make the beds in the main field, and then these beds should be covered with some polythene sheets, right? So that are known as low tunnels. Okay, so during winter, protection of brinjal plants from low temperature with low tunnel technology gives early and high yield, right? So in the winter months, brinjal should be protected against low temperature with low tunnel technology, and it will give the early crop as well as it will give high yield. So what we should do for this, nursery should be transplanted in first fortnight of November on raised beds. Okay, so we have to transplant on the raised beds in the month of November at a spacing of beds, raised beds. And what should be the spacing of the beds? 90 centimeter between rows and 30 centimeter between plants, right? And in the first week, so firstly what we have to do, we have to raise the beds, we have to make beds, and the spacing between the beds should be 90. On the bed there are rows, so spacing between the rows should be 90 centimeter, and the spacing between plants on the beds should be 30 centimeter, right? So firstly in the month of November we have to make raised beds. Then during December, first week of December, iron arch are fixed and covered with transparent non-perforated plastic sheet of 50 micron thickness, right? So now in the month of December, iron arcs are fixed, right? And they are covered with the transparent plastic sheet. So when the temperature starts warming up, okay, so this is done to protect the seedlings against frost. And again in the month of February, when the temperature goes up and when it starts warming up, then we have to remove the polythene sheet from the seedlings in the month of February, right? So this is the figure of low tunnel technology. So there are raised beds and on which the seedlings are transplanted, and these raised beds are, firstly there are iron arcs, and then these are covered with the polythene sheets, right? So these seedlings are protected against frost in the month of December and January, and when the temperature goes up in the month of February, then these polythene sheets are removed from the beds. Then these seedlings will give early fruit, as well as the yield of the fruit will be higher as compared to the fruits which are not grown under low tunnel technology, right? So this is the figure of low tunnel technology. Now spacing. So there are different seasons, different months in which we can grow the crop. So normally the spacing between the plants should be 30 to 45 centimeter, and between the rows the spacing should be 60 centimeter. It means the row to row distance should be 60 centimeter and plant to plant distance should be 30 to 45 centimeter, right? So this is the spacing requirement of brinjal. Then manures and fertilizers. So we need to add 10 tons of farmyard manure before transplanting of the seedlings into the main field, and the other requirements like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So 50 kg of nitrogen is required, and this is applied in two supplettes, right? So half of the nitrogen is applied at the time of transplanting, and half of the nitrogen is applied after pickings, after two pickings of the brinjals. Then 25 kg of phosphorus is required, and for getting phosphorus we need to apply single superphosphate, and 12 kg of potassium is required, and potassium can be applied in the form of muriate of potash, right? So all these fertilizers, that is phosphorus, potassium, and half of the nitrogen are applied at the time of transplanting, while the remaining half of nitrogen is applied after two pickings of brinjal fruits, right? So this is the fertilizers and manures that are required by the crop in 1 acre. Then irrigation. So irrigation is very essential, as this is a warm season crop. So first irrigation should be given immediately after transplanting, and during the summer season we need to irrigate the crop at 4 to 6 days interval, and during the winter season crop can be irrigated at an interval of 10 to 14 days, and this totally depends upon the soil type. In total, we can say that brinjal crop requires 10 to 16 irrigations, right? So in the summer months, it requires more irrigation, so the interval is smaller, that is only 4 to 6 days interval. And in winter season, the crop requires somewhat less water. That's why the irrigation interval is more, that is 10 to 14 days interval. Then interculture. So interculture is done to remove the weeds. Okay, so weeds are the unwanted plants that compete with the main crop. Okay, so we need to uh, we need to remove these weeds. Okay, so weeding can be weeding can be done manually. Okay, so shallow cultivation is followed to put down the weed growth, and we can also manage the weeds by applying some of the herbicides like chlorolin, right, at the rate of 1.5 kg per hectare. Okay, so weeds can be managed manually, as well as we can apply herbicides. Then harvesting. So fruits of brinjal are harvested when they are fully developed, but they are tender in nature. Okay, so they are not, they should not be picky, they should not be overgrown, they should be tender in nature, and they should be fully developed. The size of fruit should be fully developed. And when there is peak season, we need to harvest the brinjal fruits every week, right? Then after harvesting, storage of the brinjal. So if we want to store brinjals for longer time, that is nearly for 10 days, then we need to keep it at a temperature of 7.2 degrees Celsius with a relative humidity of 85 to 90%, right? So and if we do not maintain this temperature, and we keep the fruits in the ordinary conditions, then the brinjals can be stored only for 1 to 2 days in summer, and only for 3 to 4 days in winter, right? So if we want to increase the shelf life of fruits, then the temperature of storage is 7.2 degrees Celsius with a relative humidity of 85 to 90%. Now seed production. So after harvesting, we can take the fruits. Okay, and seed production is the other operation that is done in case of all the vegetables. Like, so seed production is done so that we can produce a healthy seed to sow to grow the next crop. Okay, so for seed production, we need an isolation distance of 200 meters, right? Means that the two varieties of the brinjal, the distance between the two varieties of brinjal should be 200 meters. Like, so we can say that if the two crops, two different varieties of brinjal are grown in the different fields, then the distance between those fields should be 200 meters. And when we grow the crop, we need 3 field inspections during different phases of the crop. Like, first field inspection should be done at the vegetative phase, second field inspection should be done at flowering stage, and the third and final inspection should be done at the fruiting, that is before harvesting of the fruits, right? So when we visit the field, when we inspect the field, we have to check that there is no any disease on the plants, there is no any attack of the insect or pest, or there is no any odd type of plants there. Okay, so at the vegetative phase, you can see that there are no any odd type of plants, and if there are some odd plants or some diseased plants or insect attacked plants, then we have to root out those plants, and we have to bury those plants, right? And at the time of flowering and fruiting, the field inspection is done, and during this inspection we have to notice that flowering is complete, fruiting, there are the fruits are of uh, proper size, the quality of fruits is good, the color of fruits is good. So if there is any misshapen fruit or any kind of disease is there, so we have to pluck those fruits, and uh, we have to bury those fruits. And the third final inspection is done before harvesting the fruits. Again, we have to check for all the um, diseases or insect pest, right? So we have to keep in check at the time of seed production. Then ripe fruits are when they turn yellow, these are harvested, and then these are crushed. The plucked harvested fruits are crushed and stored overnight, and then the seeds are separated after washing with the water, and then they are dried. Okay, so how seed collection is done? We have to harvest the ripe fruits which have turned yellow in color, then we have to crush the fruit, then we have to keep the fruit as such for overnight, right? Then on the next day we have to wash those seeds, and we have to sieve the seeds, and then we have to dry the seeds. Okay, so washing is usually done in the morning so that the seed is dried during the day. The dried seed is then packed and labeled. So this is all about the seed production in case of brinjals. Now, some of the problems that are associated with brinjal, these are the firstly the diseases. Okay, so Fomsis blight is the major disease of brinjal. Okay, so Fomsis blight, the scientific name of Fomsis blight is Fomsis vexans. So this blight bleach the fruits. Okay, when there is attack of Fomsis blight, the fruits are get bleached and they give a burning appearance, right? To manage the Fomsis blight, we need to treat the seed. Okay, so seed treatment is done before sowing of the seeds. So we can treat the seed with Therem at the rate of 3 gram per kg of seed. Then we can also spray the crop with the Mancozeb, and we can grow the resistant varieties like Pusa Bhairav. So this variety is Pusa Bhairav variety is resistant against Fomsis blight, right? So next disease is little leaf. Okay, so little leaf disease, in this the height of the plant is stunted, the leaves are malformed, the leaves are very narrow and they remain short. Okay, flower parts are also turned into the leaf like structures and there is no fruit bearing on the plants, right? So this leaf, little leaf is caused by the mycoplasma and this is transmitted by the leaf hopper. So leaf hopper is an insect that transmits the disease leaf, little leaf. Okay, so this is caused by mycoplasma, and to manage this disease we have to remove all the affected plants and we have to destroy these affected plants at an early age, right? So these are the major diseases of brinjal crop. The next is insect pest. So major insect pest of brinjal crop is shoot and fruit borer. So this is the most serious pest of brinjal crop. Okay, so this bore into the fruits, bore into the shoots, they start sucking sap from the uh, stems, and plant will wilt and it will dry, and later the larvae will bore below the calyx of the fruits. Firstly they will attack on the shoots, then they will attack on the fruits. So in the fruits, the fruits are filled with the frost, the holes are visible on the fruits when larvae come out. So now this is the major pest of brinjal. To manage shoot and fruit borers, we have to grow the resistant varieties or tolerant varieties such as Pusa purple cluster, Arka kusumkar. So these are the varieties which are tolerant to shoot and fruit borer. Uh, we have to avoid ratooning of brinjal crop, and close spacing should be avoided and continuous planting of brinjal should be avoided. We have to remove and destroy all the infested shoots, and we can spray the crop with carbaryl, fenvalerate and lambra xylothrine, that is effective against shoot and fruit borer. And after spraying the crop with these chemicals, we need to observe for a 10 for a waiting period of 10 days for harvesting of fruits. Okay, so this is all regarding the production technology of brinjal. Thank you everyone.